Hey folks, today I'm on a small Virginia flow in the middle of the state. I'm with Chad Hoover there. He's in the Jackson Take 2 for the first time. What do you think of that thing, man, so far? You just hopped in it.
Stable. Well, first impressions are it's super stable. It's pretty much an open cockpit, open layout. You can do with it what you want. What I really like about it as well is that all your rigging is going to be out around the edges, your peripheral. So even if you're a fly fisherman, you want to strip fly line to the center of the boat, you're going to have the ability to do that. The scuppers are where they need to be to provide stability when you stand up, which is sometimes a miss with a lot of manufacturers. A lot of tracks. I'm a big track fan. I love the hull access with the hatch in the front. And then the seat goes from the high to low position very easy. It's something you can do on the water. And I just like the fact that the center of gravity, where the angler is, especially if you're going to motorize the boat, is going to serve the boat when it comes to planing. And I haven't even turned the power on yet. I can just tell based on how I'm sitting in the boat, even with a full black pack in the back, where I'm at, the boat's going to perform a little bit better than if all that weight was back towards the tank well. So looking forward to seeing how it performs.
So like I said, we're in central Virginia, and this is somewhat close to the northern limit range of where we have the cypress. I know we have some up in Maryland, but it's definitely got the feel of some of the places I've been catching spotted bass down south.
Yep. I mean, this is Louisiana-esque.
Hey Chad, how do you turn a square bill into a whopper plopper?
Foul hook it. It's a swirly popper though.
Swirly popper?
A whirly gig.
So the section of the river that we're in here, I think is a very fractured type setup, like where it just spreads out. Yeah. Like there's more of this river, I think, an eighth of a mile that way and more of it over on our right. Yeah. And like this is just coming together again. It's all braided up. Interesting spot. So this is a big reason why I keep my rod stored horizontally, pointed back, because I go into this kind of stuff. Almost over it. Kind of sprigging my leg off of it.
They're like, fall and keep, get it? Like, yeah, we get it. Doesn't mean we think it's a good idea, but we get it.
Oh! Broke off. I think it was a pickerel. Alright, so I broke off that jig and the fish jumped. Chad saw it. He's like, yeah, that was a bass. So I guess there was enough abrasion on the line. I know I've switched. I think the last place I fished, I probably had the 10 or the 12. I'm jumping up to 20 because there's just so much wood in here. You know, I put that stronger, thicker 20-pound fluorocarbon just because it's going to be like that today. A lot of obstructions, a lot of things to wrap around and get chewed up on. So we've come up as far as we can, dragging over stuff. This strainer that goes all the way across doesn't look like it's been there that long, I'm gonna find out if I can shake it loose.
Thank you very much.
You want to come up and I get you over? I think we can go over this way if I'm standing. Yeah, we can go over.
I got all that. And I was zoomed in tight. Hey Jeff, what just happened?
I think the expression is ass over tea kettle.
Oh.
Alright, bring it, Chad. Alright. I think I'm hopping back in again. And just
I could just,
so
if you get your nose on there, I'll just scoot forward and then you can slide through this same spot I'm in. Does that make sense?
It does to a point, but it ain't like I'm not already wet. Know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So Chad's holding this sucker down with his kayak. I pulled him up onto it, and that's gonna let both of us get through.
The other option is,
Explain what's in your truck.
you can bring a saw that is sitting nice and comfortable in the back of my truck in my decked drawer system. And all you have to do is just sit there and take about a minute and a half to cut through this tree limb. Then you pull it over to the side and you have a nice pathway to freedom. Or you could just bring a Jeff and he could climb on top of it and jump up and down and then
Fall on his head.
fall on his head in the river. There you go.
Freedom. All right, we got another one of these all the way across type deals. I think we can go right there and just mash it over. Let's see how that goes. Always important to turn your rods back if you can. I know my other rods are in their Omega Pros backwards, but this one I'm using also needs to be back.
All right, so one of the downsides to not fishing out of your own boat is you don't have all the little creature comforts that you're used to. So one of the things that I do when I'm fishing rivers like this is I have a Rogue drag strap and I put one on the front and bring it to the middle handle for pulling backwards. And then I have one on the back that I bring up and I hook it under the bungee. So then I can just grab it and pull the boat over the front. I can pull the boat backwards or forwards and it makes a really nice, you know, portaging easy. It makes dragging the boats back to the truck easy, but it definitely makes getting over log jams super easy without having to grab handles and rod holders and things.
Would you use just a regular Yak Attack strap?
You could also do that.
Because there's one on the seat frame of that boat.
Okay. What I really like about the Rogue one is it's got a built-in handle like your old school kayak handles.
Right.
And it just gives you a lot more firm grip. It gives you leverage, and the new one that he's got is an adjustable link, so technically you could use it for the front and the back, so it's pretty slick.
Nice. Don't you cut off my jackhammer, you nasty, toothy critter. Nasty teeth. See a fish. Coming up on your right. All right, so we've had, how many of those big logs have we gone over?
4.
4, and then we've come back down through.
Technically 8 now.
Okay, we're up to 8. There'll be a few more. We're heading back to the bridge, and we're gonna head downstream to see if we can get a little bit deeper water. Like most of the fish we caught have been somewhere near deep water.
Yeah, on the leading edge of a pool where it tapers down.
Exactly. So we're gonna go see if we can find some more of that and move downstream, motor back up, keep exploring. A lot of chain pickerel, a lot of smaller bass.
Another river monster.
That's a little chunker. Not real long, but look how fat he is. Up and in. He is round.
All right, let me show you guys a real quick tip on one of my go-to river setups. So right here I got a Z-Man craw. I like the craw for coming in and out of tight places, but I also really like the goat or the billy goat. How you rig it is the biggest thing. I love zoom horny toads. I like gambler, cane toads, and buzz toads and things like that. But these Z-Man just seem to last forever. So there's 2 primary ways that I rig it depending on the current. If I'm going downstream, then I'll rig it with a standard mustad grip pin hook. And you want that grip pin hook because it'll grab that elastec and it keeps that bait nice and in place. If I'm going upstream and I want to throw into the current and let it hit the bottom because I can keep it in the target zone longer, I like to use these keel weighted hooks. But here's the tip. After you skin it a bunch and you tear up the top side, it's really hard to get the hook to catch anymore. And you can get a ton of mileage out of any Z-Man plastic, you know, because they just last forever with the elastec. But here's how to get even more mileage out of it. You just basically take the hook out, flip the bait around, go down right to the transition, pop that hook out. I like to wet the hook just like when you're tying the leader. Slide it up, get it past the hook just like that. Now when you feed the hook through it, this is the old side where I already have kind of torn it up. Now you've got new plastic on the other side. You just barely expose that hook just like that. You can throw it up in the nastiest stuff out there. You get double the mileage out of elastec, which always lasts forever. One other way that you can do this is you can start up at the top, and then after you tear the bait up, you can move the hook down, cut this down, go to an even smaller hook, and you can get a ton of mileage out of one of these things, and you can make that bait even more compact. Go from a 5/0 to a 3/0 to a 2/0, and you can catch 400 fish on one of these things when it's all said and done. So that's my little tip for one of my go-to river setups, and a concept that I call rebating. You get to reuse that bait and you get a little bit of money back because you don't have to buy new ones. Come off. Oh, you got to be kidding me. I meant come off of the log and it came off of the, that was the best one yet. Did you hear that plunk?
I did.
Oh. I think I might be pushing over in this hole just to fish about 100 feet.
So we've gone downstream and we got this again. Certainly worth fishing, but I'm just narrating. You just get one on the other side of that?
Yeah, I love over the log fishing. It's like my favorite type of fishing. But you know, for the most part, most fish back in there haven't seen any lure. I mean, it ain't a monster, but it ain't no slob. It ain't no slob, but it ain't no slouch either. Little chunky fish. Little chunky fish. Dude, they are square back in here. That fish is 3 inches wide by 5 inches wide by 13 inches long. Oh, there's another one. That's 3 fish and 4 casts over that log. Oh, there he is. Oh, that's a pickerel. That fish hit it as I was lifting the lure out of the water. So converts to like 4 feet, 6 foot 8 inches, and 9 foot 8 inches, roughly.
All right, it's been a fun morning of dink catching and log rolling.
I mean, we caught a few chunks. These little river largemouth are taking on kind of a smallmouth profile,
right?
Because they live in current. I did miss a really big one when we first coming back towards the bridge, and then I hooked that big one.
It's got promise.
That big one that took me down in the wood on the other side of that tree. But I mean, it's got promise, but it's also fun.
It is fun.
You know,
it's really hard to get. Like, we didn't leave earshot of the bridge. I think we probably went 3/4 of a mile up.
This is the kind of fishery
and a 1/4 mile down.
You need to bring a chainsaw, a handsaw, and a machete. I mean, really what it boils down to.
And some dynamite.
Yeah, we've been using these electric chainsaws that, you know, you're not going to cut 50 trees, but you can cut 2 or 3. And this is just what makes kayak fishing.
Yeah.
Like if I was to say the picture that I wanted to put into the dictionary of what kayak fishing is,
some of what we just did this morning.
It's this, yeah, it's exploring, it's not seeing other people, it's doing the work to get to the spot most people wouldn't do, and it's getting to the places that very few people get to. Right. Like that log, I stood on that log and caught 5 or 6 fish because
I think you caught more standing on that log than you caught anywhere.
Yeah, they haven't seen lures, and you know, I've also been experimenting. One of the things that I love about fishing with you and other accomplished anglers is that if you're using something that's working, I have a tendency to say, I'm going to try something else. In fact, halfway through the trip, you're like, dude, tie a jig on. I'm like, well, I already know the jig's working. You're catching them on it. I want to try a fluke or a whopper plopper or, you know, whatever else. And then, honestly, towards the end, I wanted to catch some fish. So I safetied up, put the chatterbait on, and started, you know, really catching fish. And if I'd probably put the chatterbait on from the beginning, it'd be a 50 fish day. Sure. But this is kayak fishing. Yep. And I got to be honest with you, Jeff. I have shied away from the 1103 because of the weight. I've shied away from the 1103 because of the size of the prop. But this thing has performed amazing back here in this shallow water. It's like the ATV of kayak motors. So yeah, that prop tends to, if you lift it a little bit out of the water, it keeps chugging along. Oh my gosh. Yeah. And if you really need to get on it, that instant torque is crazy. Not having that spool up time where you're like, oh, you can use the torque to get you out of the hole. You can use the torque to get you where you need to go. And the power is just ridiculous. Well, it's almost like it needs one of those theme songs, you know, like on Top Gun. It says, I feel the need for speed.
Well, speaking of that, crazy.